Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2. This will be officially available tomorrow, September 18th, 2020. This was a pre-order, and I was fortunate enough to get it a day early. And at $2,000 US, this is not only one of the most expensive phones ever made, but also one of the most impressive. If you're like me, you love technology, and you like to see not just bleeding edge, but also actually functional tech come to life, that is what the Fold promises. Now, I did cover the first generation, and it was a favorite device of mine. It took a lot of flack because Samsung did have problems with their launch, but this generation promises to essentially rule most of those issues out. So what you're about to see was not only a revamp cosmetically, but also in terms of actual design. Samsung went as far as to make sure that we now have a larger internal display. It's 120 hertz. Of course, that is, you can essentially switch it back to 60 hertz. The first thing we're greeted with is change the shape of the future, introducing the Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G. By the way, this does not have any form of storage expansion, so be aware. You're about to see a handset, there it is, that has 256 gigs of internal storage. That is a 7.6-inch internal display that does fold. A Snapdragon 865 Plus powers the entire experience. That's the same processor you'll find in something like the Note 20 Ultra that I recently covered. This is the Mystic Black color, for those of you that are wondering, which kind of looks more like silver. We have a Type-C charging port right here at the bottom, a speaker to its left on the other side of the device, fingerprint scanner, power button, volume rocker. The SIM card tray, I believe, unless I missed it already, is right here on the bottom left side. Samsung making it official to remind everyone that even though they have a very thin coating of glass on this display, it is sensitive and it is still fragile. You don't want to break this, of course. We have 5 cameras in total. 3 of them are right here on the back. And then, of course, one you'll see in a moment here on the center display. And then we have another on the front of the display, front of the phone. And by the way, that's another big improvement. The front of the phone now has, as I do this, I know a lot of you are waiting for this, a 6.23-inch panel on it. So unlike last generation where it was fairly small, that has been done away with. So here it is. We still have a crease, but it's not really viewable from certain angles. What is a very big improvement is that hinge. The same hinge I have with my Z Flip, we now have with the Fold. And this means that you can, as they've dubbed it, use it in a flex mode. So on a desk, you can actually put this down. I'm powering it up right now. And if we have any juice, and we do, and basically, leave it on your desk like this and use it. It'll also make use of split screen on certain applications like the camera app. You can have gallery on one side, the camera application on the other. It just is an improvement in so many ways. Now, the internal display, much cleaner. You notice we just have a pinhole, no notch anymore. 10 megapixel camera there, setting up. 10 megapixel camera on the front of the device as well for selfies. This is, as I mentioned, a 6.23-inch display, also a Super AMOLED, of course, 816 by 2260 res. The internal display that I mentioned is 7.6 inches. That's a bump up from 7.3 last year. 120 hertz, I already said that, is officially 1768 by 2208. So fairly solid resolution across the board here. But really, this is all about that design change and the fact that now we have a nearly full screen display on the exterior. Now the phone is still thick, but that's what you get when you have 2 batteries and essentially, it's not 2 phones in one body, but with that 7.6-inch internal display, this phone comes in at a little under 10 ounces. The cameras are not the best that Samsung has to offer. Unfortunately, they're not giving us the camera system that's in the Note 20 Ultra that I've been covering. It's essentially what you get with the S20 and not the ultra version of that either. So 3 12-megapixel cameras. One of them has optical zoom. The others are just wide, medium, and of course telephoto, as I've mentioned. But I'm expecting good things. The internal storage is the fastest in the business. We did take a step backwards going to 256 from 512. I wish that had not happened, but that was one of the measured moves that Samsung made. Now, they are reminding you they have their premier service for this. They'll give you 1 year, a screen replacement for $150 if you destroy it. But I'm not really too worried about that because the durability of the first generation was pretty good in spite of it getting, essentially recalled for durability issues. The power brick, we're limited to 25-watt fast charging. Would I have liked to have seen faster? Sure, but if you're after a device like this because of what it's capable of, then that isn't going to deter you in any way. Now, there is no water resistance with this. Please keep that in mind. No IP rating, so dust and water susceptible, it absolutely is. But remember, if the experience is anything like what I had with the first gen, then I'm not worried. Very solid, well-made device. I will be comparing this to the Microsoft Duo because I feel like that is the chief competitor with this, even though this is truly a folding screen, whereas the Duo has 2 separate screens and is a clamshell device. This also, in my opinion, is the more mature product of the two, and I'm just happy to have it. I really wanted to own the first generation, but I knew there were issues. Timing was screwed up because of the pushback on the actual launch and release because of reviewers peeling off and breaking one of the substrates on the actual internal screen. We have none of that this year, none of that crap, and so we just have a really polished second-gen device that ultimately should be amazing to use. I don't think we have much of anything else in here except a SIM ejector tool, and I think that's it. So nice packaging, but it better be nice for $2,000, right? And overall, just excited to put this to use, get it activated. This is going to be my daily driver. Because there is no water resistance, I will be relying on another phone for my Note 9 for any instances where I actually do need something that can get wet. But that's something you may or may not want to do depending on your personal use case scenario. But this thing is just a beautiful device, and yeah, it's a little bit thick, but remember, you are getting a tablet that can fit in your pocket. And when I compare it to other devices like the Note 20 that I have right here, you can see the size difference. The Note 20 is a larger phone in just about every area except thickness. And of course, the Note 20 Ultra here does have a pen, which I wish this had. That's about the only thing this doesn't have that I would have liked to have seen. But other than that, if what you're after is, again, bleeding edge and a game-changing device, the first Gen Fold delivered that, but the front display was only 4.6 inches, which left a lot to be desired. Here now we have that corrected. Yeah, it's a narrow display, but you don't really have to ever open this. And we did get a bump up in the battery, even though they're split across each side, 4,500 milliamp hours, so that's the same size as what's in the Note 20 Ultra. And as I've mentioned, the Snapdragon 865 Plus right now is top of the line, 12 gigs of RAM. The 256 gigs, I wish they would have kept it 512, but it is faster. It's UFS 3.1. That's the fastest internal storage on any device on the planet. And we do have wireless charging, unlike the Surface Duo. We do have cameras out the wazoo. They may not be the best, but you're not going to say, I wish I had one better camera like the Surface Duo, because you have a total of 5 here. And again, the flex mode is what really makes this device fantastic, because that just wasn't possible with Gen 1, and that's one of my favorite elements of the Z Flip, and now we have it here. Now, I never looked at the paperwork in this box. I will take a peek, but I'm not really expecting anything crazy here, and yeah, no, it's just paperwork. So there it is. Again, you're looking at the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2. You can see you can't see the actual crease now, and that's because when anything is on screen, you pretty much aren't going to. But just an amazing piece of technology that has been improved drastically in a single generation. really delivering, I think, what everybody hoped and wanted in the first gen. Only thing missing now is pen support, which hopefully we'll see next cycle. But again, if you're looking for a phone that really can multitask and has everything, this is it. Just no pen and no water or dust resistance. Otherwise, I don't know how much more you could want from a smartphone. Again, this was just an unboxing, first look. I'll be delivering an update on it shortly. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.